What is up, everybody? Welcome to Electrified Reviews. Now today we are checking out an awesome scooter. See, it says it right there on the side. Jokes aside, this is actually a pretty awesome scooter. It's billed as an off-road scooter because it's got full suspension. We've got this coil swing arm suspension on the front and in the rear. Now, I've ridden on suspension like this on other scooters before. You don't get a ton of travel. It does work pretty well for off-roading, but you know, on a scooter you've got small wheels, and so there's only so much you can do to add comfort. So it is going to be a little bit of a bumpy ride still, but it can handle the off-road. It's certainly got enough torque to do that. We're looking at 10-inch wheels on here, 10-inch by 3.15 in width, so pretty good size for a scooter. They definitely help with smoothing out bumps. When you have a larger diameter wheel, then you get a better attack angle against rocks and bumps, and so it really does help a lot as far as ride comfort goes. Nice big tread on these. Like this is definitely geared a bit more for off-road. They'll do fine on pavement, of course, but really gonna get some good traction off-road here. Now this is a single motor drive model, so it's got a rear hub motor back here, 1,000 watt nominal hub motor back there. Pretty powerful. It can peak up around like 1,300 or so watts, 25 Newton meters of torque. Now they advertise a 25-degree climbing angle, which is pretty, like that's pretty impressive to be able to climb something that steep. Now in my test so far, it's done well. But we're going to do some more extreme riding out here. We've got some pretty steep trails, lots of bumps, tree roots, all kinds of obstacles. So we're really going to be putting this to the test in terms of its off-road capabilities. Now for other accessories on this scooter, it's pretty well kitted out. It's got a full lighting system. You've got a headlight here. You've got running lights on the sides that also function as turn signals, brake light activation from the rear light in the back here. Now all the lights are down low since it is a scooter, and they're not super bright. The headlight's pretty good, but they don't give you a ton of visibility during the day. Unfortunately, there's only so much you can do for that with the scooter. The only I guess improvement that could be made for lights is if you put the headlight up here high, where it's easier for people on the road to see. But still, this is definitely way better than no lights at all, and having the full lights is really awesome. You get a horn too. You've got a full motorcycle style control over on the left grip here, so if you have ridden motorcycles before, it's very easy. You've got your switch to turn your lights on and off, turn signals, and of course the horn buzzer, which is surprisingly loud. Definitely will get someone's attention. Now this is a very adjustable scooter, and I'm really impressed with especially how they did the adjustable stem here. So if you look here, right here, you've got a quick release to loosen up the stem so that it can adjust. And then they've got these 3 different slots here for dialing in the height on it. I'm gonna try to do it with one hand here, a little bit difficult. So it'll snap and lock in right here, and then you can, push it one more time, snap and lock it in all the way down to the lowest setting. So it can't go very high up and down, but no adjustable stem scooter can, because you've got your cords, right? All of your cables for the brakes and motor, everything that has to go down there. They did an excellent job with the cable management here. It's really well bound. Even when you have it all the way down, it doesn't stick out too far. And then if I raise this all the way back up, one second. When we're all the way up here in the highest position, the cables are stretched, but not like, stretched to the point of damaging them. It looks nice, it's very clean. Running it through the frame just as much as possible. It gives it this really sleek and yet, rugged look. Like it looks like a really nice, sturdy frame. Now there's a couple more points for adjustability on this scooter. One of them is that it's folding, so let's just demo that real quick. The stem can fold down, which is really nice for, transport or maybe just storage, so it takes up less space in the garage. Oops, I just forgot to close this back up here. Now for the stem, 2-stage release to actually fold down the stem, which is nice. It prevents it from accidentally folding. You got to loosen this all the way up here first, and then you have to pull the pin out on the side, and then the stem will fold back. Here we go. It is a little bit tricky to do with one hand. So here you are, folded down. It takes up a lot less storage space, makes it easier to transport too if you need to put it into your car. And it does have a mechanism here to secure it against the footrest so that it can't, go side to side, which is really awesome, honestly. Otherwise the stem will swing all over the place and can make it unwieldy to carry, and then also kind of unwieldy to transport as well, because if you go over bumps or around turns, it's swinging around back there in the back of your car. Not ideal. So very good that they included the hook here so that you can just kind of get it secured down. We'll just go ahead and slide that back. lift it up, the pin automatically locks in. So then all you have to do is just tighten the locking mechanism here, and then you are all set. Last point of adjustability here, this is a scooter you can sit on or stand on. It comes with this adjustable seat, which you can mount on there, and then you can sit on it instead of standing. I didn't bring it with me because it's a little bit heavy and it's not easy to install. It's not like a quick release install for the seat. It does take a little bit of time and some tools to mount that in there. So it's not something you just swap in and out depending on how you're feeling. It's more of, they're giving you the option if you want a standing scooter or you want a sitting scooter. Now on some trails and stuff, it might be kind of nice to be standing just because you get the suspension from your legs. It'd be a bit more comfortable. But then if you're maybe commuting around town, riding back and forth school or work, it could be nice to have that sitting mode just because it's a little bit easier, a little bit less work. Let's run through the electrical system real quick before we get to the test ride. We'll give you a look at the cockpit here. Great sleek layout. I like the display. The display is actually like very rugged, which I think should hold up well if you do ever get into any sort of a tumble. Now it has a key to turn it on, which is not actually commonly seen on scooters, but this is nice because it'll prevent anyone who's not supposed to be on it from turning it on, trying to ride away with it. You have to turn the key to the on position and then hold down the power button, which is right here underneath the thumb throttle. Display will fire up, and this is a great display. It's nice and bright, easy to see, and we're in shade right now, but even in direct sunlight, I had no problem seeing everything here. Like they did a good job. You've got your speed nice and large, front and center, your battery charge, nice 10 bars here too, so this is pretty accurate. Should help to, waylay any range anxiety. And then if you want to switch between your different modes, you can see right here we're in mode level 1, so you can single press that power button and go up to level 2. And then press it again to go up to level 3. And what that changes is your effective top speed. Now they pick kind of some interesting points for their top speed. Level 1 will get you up to 9 miles per hour, right about 9-10, which is a pretty good stopping point. Level 2 will get you up to 22 miles per hour, at least that's what they say on their website. And for me, I was able to get it up to like 23, 24. That one's a little weird to me. I think I would have had it set you at 20 miles per hour because that's just a pretty common top speed for like class 2 electric bikes. It's a reasonably safe speed if you're riding on a multi-use trail, whereas 24 is kind of pushing it a little bit, but it's a variable thumb throttle, so you can control your speed that way. And when you're all the way up here in level 3, that is full power, full speed. And full speed for the scooter is either 32 miles per hour or 34, depending on where you're looking on their website. Now I haven't tested out the top speed, but we'll do that in the ride test just to see what kind of speed we can get up to. Now there's additional readouts on the display for your odometer and your trip and everything, and this seems to just be kind of cycling back and forth every few seconds since there's not really any other buttons to control on the display. You really just have the one power button to turn it on and then change your modes, and that's it. Which, I mean, honestly, I dig that because it's simple, it's easy to use. You don't have to fiddle with a bunch of buttons, especially when you're riding. Nobody wants to be doing that. And as mentioned earlier, you've got your light controls over here on the side. I'm gonna flip those on just so you can see the headlight. Big, it's a 4 bulb. Like that thing is powerful. That will definitely help out if you're doing any night riding. One last thing to talk about on here is the brakes. So we've got the nice big 3-finger levers on here, Wuxing brakes. Now these are mechanical disc brakes. Give you a look at the front one here. So we've got 140mm rotors on the front and in the rear. Decent stopping power, but as you can see, like from the cable right here, they are mechanical instead of hydraulic. So what that means is that you have to squeeze harder to bring the bike to a stop. They require more grip force. There's also a bit more work to do with mechanical brakes for just kind of maintenance and tuning. You got to tighten them up every now and then because they will start to loosen up and you'll lose some power. So not as effective as hydraulic disc brakes, but they still, they still work. They do a solid job, and you also have electronic brakes on this. So in the rear motor in the back there is an electronic braking system. So as soon as you start to squeeze the levers, then it's going to kick in that electronic brake, which is just the motor slowing you down. Typically those have a little bit of a regenerative capability as well. So between the two of those, solid stopping power, but an important thing to note with electronic braking systems is that they can be glitchy or fail sometimes, and so in that case you would be left with only the mechanical brakes, which, like I said, just requires more grip force. So if you don't feel good about being able to squeeze hard enough to bring it to a stop, then looking at something with hydraulic brakes might be a better option for you. Alrighty folks, we're going to jump straight in the deep end with the ride test. We're gonna start on the trails here, do some off-road stuff. Let's see here, so we'll Get this fired back up. I'll start it in mode 1. Why not? Alrighty then. I do really like having the extra little footrest on the back here. It's great if you want to, you know, ride facing fully forward without having to put your feet to the side, if you got big feet like I do. Definitely feels better with off-road riding. Got some pretty steep inclines here, so let's, I'm actually gonna bump it all the way up to mode 3. Just to see, and I'm actually starting kind of on the uphill too, so we're definitely putting that climbing power to the test. We are making it up the hill, but pretty slow. I don't think it likes having to start out already on the incline. Feels great though, honestly. There's some pretty big tree roots and bumps and stuff on this trail, and it's doing a good job smoothing them out. You know, for a scooter, I guess I should add that. You know, it's certainly not going to be as smooth of a ride as, you know, on a big wheeled mountain bike. On this trail here where it's just a little bit smoother, really feels awesome. Oh boy, I got a nice drop right here. Feels pretty nimble, pretty easy to control even in these you know, tight gaps through the trees. I think we got something stuck in the front wheel or brake there. I can hear it buzzing around. Let's see. All right, well, I think it fell out. I don't hear it anymore. And let's dump back in. There are some fairly big roots and drops in here. Now we've got, you know, about 6.5 inches of clearance from the bottom of the deck to the ground, which is pretty decent. Oh, big steep one. Oh, yeah, that was, we barely made it up that. We had some speed coming in. Overall, I'm pretty impressed with the traction from the tires. This is some kind of sketchy terrain out here. It's very loamy, so there's some spots that are really soft and kind of washed out. But it's felt solid so far. I haven't even felt them slipping at all. Ooh, big drop. All right. So on some of these downhills there, I'm squeezing on the brake levers pretty dang hard to, you know, keep myself from getting going too fast. So definitely would appreciate having some hydraulic brakes, especially since this is, you know, intended for off-road riding. Give a little bit more peace of mind. We are back on the pavement. All right. So overall, pretty solid performance. I mean, honestly, that was a lot of fun. Felt pretty stable. Having the rear footrest, I think, is a game changer for off-road stuff, because if you can look down at my feet here, I've got them both pointed forward. So I'm fully facing forward. I feel nice and stable. Some scooters, you don't have that much room for your feet, and so you have to have one or both of them kind of turn sideways depending on how tall you are. And that's just not, you know, it doesn't feel very stable, having to be all twisted and whatnot. So this is a good feeling for sure. We are going to see what kind of speed we can get up to here. We're in mode 3, so let's see if we can get up to, you know, 34 miles an hour like we should. We got up to 27 there. Here, we got a nice long flat stretch right here, so let's see what we can do. Let's slow down a bit because we've got some people here. But I was only hitting about, 27, 28, which is not as high as we're supposed to be able to get up to. We'll get up to a section of, standard road here, so we're off the bike path, and then we'll see if we can get going a little bit faster. All right, got a bit of a straight stretch here, so we'll just open up the throttle. Let's go. The early on acceleration is very powerful. I mean, we're already up into the mid-20s here. So off the line, tons of torque. We are holding steady at 29 miles per hour. And we drop back down to 28. Yeah, so 28, 29 kind of seems like about the limit here. Gonna stop and turn around. And I want to see if I'm maybe missing anything on the display for... Yeah, it seems like it's, yeah, we are up in the highest mode, 3. We'll go back the other way, maybe it's a little bit downhill. It's possible we might only be able to hit, above 30 miles per hour if we're doing it seated, just because then you have a lower profile, less wind resistance. No, but it's kind of the same deal here. We're, hitting 27, 28 miles per hour. That is all the faster we can go. I do like just how nimble the scooter feels. Very agile. It feels remarkably sturdy too. The stem is rock solid sturdy. Sometimes on these folding stems they feel a little bit wobbly, a little bit of extra squirrel effect, but this feels solid. Yeah, it feels great on these big rolling turns. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, we got a pretty steep incline here. I don't know if it's 25 degrees, but I feel like it's, pretty steep. So we'll see what the motor can do, and just to really push it as hard as we can. I'm just gonna start like right on the bottom of the incline here. We're in level 3, so that's the highest power mode. Let's just see if we can make it up here. We're doing it, but we're doing it slow. We're at 5 miles an hour. There's 6. So, I mean, all things considered, we made it up there. Like in a real world scenario, you're probably not starting from the bottom of the hill there. You'd have a little bit of speed to run into it. So we'll do it again with a little bit of speed coming in. So this time coming in at, 12 or so miles per hour. And I'm gonna just hit the throttle. We're losing a little bit of speed, but we made it up. So yeah, good enough hill climber, I guess is what I would put it at. You might still have to push along if you're going up something really steep, especially off-roading. All right, this is the same one we did before, but now it's the second time doing it, so I know what to expect. Get some speed up before we go up these hills. Ooh, we're barely making it up some of these. It's probably hard to see on the camera, but I've been keeping it down full throttle most of the time here, at least on the uphills. Okay, folks, that's about it for the ride test. Now, even though it's on a scooter and I wasn't having to, push or anything, it is still a surprisingly good workout to ride it off-road. You have to be a bit more of a lower stance, and it's definitely an active experience for sure. If you're into scooter off-roading, I think this one performed admirably. And honestly, I'm impressed because it felt a lot more stable than the most recent scooter that I ridden was the Yume Hawk, which actually was quite a bit more powerful, but had a kind of similar look and build. But this one feels a lot more stable, and I think that's because of the stem and how sturdy it is. I mean, this thing is massive. The fold joint is very sturdy. Like there's no like wobble or give or bend in it at all. And I think that really goes a long ways. We weren't able to get up to the advertised top speed, which was 34 miles per hour, but that's okay. Like, I mean, honestly, like around 28 miles per hour, like, is maybe as fast as I would want to go on this scooter, because it doesn't have a steering damper. If you're not familiar with steering dampers, they usually mount, you know, somewhere down here just above the wheel, and they limit how easy it is to turn the stem, how easy it is to steer. They provide some stability and when you're riding at high speed. This one doesn't have it. Honestly, most scooters don't come with them, but it's a good idea to add one yourself, you know, if you're planning to do any like really high speed riding. So I think 28 miles per hour, that's pretty solid. And you know, if you're a little bit smaller, more lightweight of a person, you might be able to push it up even a little bit further to get up to that 34 mile per hour top speed. All right, folks, that is about it for today's review. So if you have questions or comments on this, you can chime in down in the comments section. You should also head over to check out the full written review on our website, electrifiedreviews.com, link in the video description. We've got pictures, we've got all the specs, we've got even more details than we managed to get into with our short time with the scooter today. Okay, folks, thanks for coming along with me. Ride safe out there. Catch you in the next video.